Hello, my name's Spencer Casimir, and I decided to study Spanish because I am Sephardic. So my ancestors came from Spain, and until my grandmother, Ladino was our first language. So now that we have the ability to return to Spain, to our home, I decided to take on the language. I was told that I wasn't very good when I was in 6th and 7th grade, but thankfully have progressed quite a lot since studying at Enforex, and I've passed the exam and I'm now waiting to receive my citizenship. So I really enjoy the Spanish language because it is my family's first language. Funny enough, when my grandmother left the hospital, they asked in the questionnaire, what language do you speak at home to her? And I looked at her, and clearly it was Spanish. For me, it's been strange though, because when she was growing up, even though Ladino Spanish was her first language, it was never really taught to us because at the time it was just after World War II, and people didn't pass on their language abilities and cultural identity in the US as much as they had in the past. So for me, I personally enjoy learning Spanish because it is the language of my family. Personally, I had a great time at Enforex. I found the teachers to be fantastic, the one-on-one to be extremely helpful, but also the preparation for the DEEUU exam. Everybody here is, not just in the staff and the faculty, was extremely helpful in teaching, but I also met a lot of great friends and we were able to communicate in multiple languages. I feel that having people from all around the world that don't speak Spanish perfectly really encouraged each other to speak in Spanish because nobody speaks every language, and therefore we had to have a common language together. It really brought out a very good environment for learning, and I thought that the facilities, staff, faculty, and my other students were absolutely fantastic. What I enjoyed most about Enforex is the flexibility, that you can stay and leave. I had friends here that were staying in Madrid for 1 week but then went to other cities in Spain to study, and that it was continuous. So just because you left one city doesn't mean that you would lose any pace in what you were learning. I personally didn't do that, but I also enjoyed the flexibility that my friends could have so they could see more of the country. Personally, I enjoyed the flexibility of the classes, that I could be in a culture class, in a language class, not just in the morning, not just in the afternoon, but actually have consistency depending on what week I was in and what I was going to be doing the week, because I was working while I was studying here as well. So it made it a lot easier for me. I also enjoyed the ability to add on private lessons when I needed it. So I've been always raised as being very Sephardic in not just my life, but also my culture. Not just my history, but also my present. So being able to come and study Spanish here has done a lot to reignite that connection, or not even reignite, but make it a lot stronger. Being Spanish has been part of my family for, I'd say 1,500 years, including the 500 years that we've been away. So being able to come back is a very strong thing for not just myself doing the process for citizenship, but also for my family, seeing that we still have that connection, not just in our minds, but also in real life. My grandmother always told me that our bodies were away from Spain, but our hearts have always been there. So being able to study more has always given me that connection linguistically as well now. My experience in Enforex means a new family to me. I have friends not just that I met in the classes or from other classes here, but I finished my course around 3-4 months ago, and the day I came back to Madrid, I came to Enforex to visit everybody who works here that I'm friends with. So it's much more than just a process of learning, but seeing familiar faces. It's a big family. So academically, the most obvious thing is that I've now passed the A2 exam, which makes me eligible for my citizenship. But more importantly, on a personal note, I speak with my grandmother a lot more in Spanish, which makes her just extremely happy. She's 85 years old now, and we get a good laugh when we speak in Spanish because Ladino is very similar, but it is kind of like speaking to Cervantes because it's 500 years old. So when she says an old word, I'll update her on the new word, but she'll also teach me the traditional Ladino way of saying it. So for example, trabajar is laborar in Ladino, and there's other small differences like nueve and mueve, or no es estáis, es estás con vosotros. But personally, it's given me that, my grandmother and I have always been extremely close. It's made us that much closer. So personally, it's been fantastic as well as academically. I usually don't like to say what I like about something as it's better than something, but Madrid is the best city I've been to in Spain. And frankly, I especially like that everybody's not trying to speak, or was not trying to speak to me in English, because it really gave me a great opportunity to practice my Spanish. I love the museums. I went to the Prado 4 times, actually. La Reina Sofia is fantastic as well. I love seeing the art, I love seeing the culture, but from a Spanish-speaking perspective, in a lot of the other cities I've been to, people will just speak to you in English because they know how to speak English and it's just the done thing. But I really appreciated the culture of Madrid, which maintained the Spanish identity, not just as a culture, but as a language, even with foreigners. And people were very helpful in making sure that my Spanish did get better as a result of that. I didn't have the option to cheat, to just go back to English because of this.